Yo, it's Jamar Carter, and I am back with another episode of the Road to Greatness podcast. Today, guys, we have someone super special. Oh my God, guys, I gotta really take my time introducing this brother. This is Ibiso Amaso. And let me tell you, am I right on that name?
Good.
Okay,
Yes,
that's dope.
sir.
That's real dope. So let me tell y'all a little bit of backstory about this brother. First off, let me just get this out the way. Yes, as y'all can tell, my boy Elijah, Too Easy Official, is not here today. We're not recording with him today. He actually is heading out of town. So we'll catch up with him on another episode. But today we got a good guest. And to give you guys a little bit of a background, me and Ibiso basically grew up together, man, because we both were in the same group home back when we were teens. And it's just so amazing because we're both doing a lot better. We're both living our lives and elevating and in a new state of mind. So it's just a blessing to actually be sitting across from you, bro, and doing this right now. It's actually mind-blowing because last time I saw him was in the group home. So it's kind of like we both fell off the map for a while, and then here we are just, doing colliding.
10 times better, man.
God is good, man. God is good.
All the time.
So, but yeah, man, first off, Ibiso, how are you doing, bro?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Cannot complain.
That's good, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Definitely. Thank you for having me, man.
That's dope. That's dope. So, so honestly, man, I guess we just gonna get started, and I really just want to know a few things about your past, man. My first question is this.
That's how you know it's about to get deep. You have to think about it.
Oh, yeah, no, it's going to get real. Here's my question, man. If you don't mind talking about it, what led you into the group home? Like, what got you there,
Let me see now. Whew. Got me thinking about things I ain't thought about in years, man. Right. How can I put this? Well, let's start with the household I was in before the group home. I was raised by my stepmom and my father. And, around the age of 12, 13, me and my father was getting into it a lot to the point where basically he put me out. I'm not even going to lie to you. I felt like I was just being a kid, but hey, everybody got their own perspective. But it led me to, I'm not going to say too much, but it led me to go into the D home. You know what the D home is, the detention center.
Yeah, that's basically like a warning, like, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? You getting it, you messing with fire, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So it led me to the D home, and from there, literally, I went, the D home used to be right down the street from the group home.
Right.
And yeah, I was in there for like 2 weeks. And yeah, they let me out, and I went straight there, and that's where the story began.
Yeah, to give y'all like some context, because I know a lot of people who are watching, they might not be aware of like how DHR works and how like getting in trouble as a youth is and stuff like that.
Once the system gets involved,
Oh man, listen, I'm gonna just say this right now. Once the system is in your household,
they're never leaving.
They're never leaving. Or what I'll say is that your family probably is not willing to do what it takes to get them to leave. That's what I would say. Because, man, once the system is involved in your life, there's hoops that you have to jump through, and most people they just don't have that in them. I was actually talking to somebody about it, and we were just realizing, like, man, imagine DHR get into your life, and then now you have to lock your liquor up in a certain cabinet with a lock on it. You have to, all prescription pills and any type of drugs in the house has to be locked up in certain areas. If there's anybody in the household who have felonies and things, you might have an uncle sleeping on the couch. They got a couple felonies from his past, but they can't live there no more. You know what I'm saying? Some people used to have bunk beds and certain living situations where you might be sleeping on a couch or on a floor mattress or something. You can't have that. You got to have a certain type of bed, so it's just so invasive to have, DHR.
You're under their microscope.
In your life, man. It's so invasive. It's not even funny. So once people usually get in there, in the system, they end up staying until they age out. So it's a very crazy thing going on today in these days. But yeah, man, so, okay, that's real cool. So what I want to ask you now is, because it's not too much important on how you got there and what, but my question was this. What did it, and this is so crazy, y'all, I'm talking to him, but it's like I'm talking to myself because I know the answer to most of these things because I lived it myself. But, just having a brother here who's doing better and is, on that road to greatness, who can articulate some of the things he was going through. It's a blessing to have him on, y'all. So tune in. But tell me this, bro. How did it feel while you were in the group home? How did it feel? Like, what did you feel about your life? And like, did you, what kept you positive, I guess, so to speak, if you were positive? Like what, talk to me.
Something I gotta think about.
Take your time.
If I'm being honest with you, and I try to keep it 100%.
Yeah.
I don't like sugarcoating, but I say this all the time to like some of my friends and stuff. I was never that person growing up. Like I never wanted to be locked up. I never
Right.
you feel me? I love my freedom. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I feel like going through a group home was the next closest thing to already being incarcerated.
Right.
You feel me? Like
It
you're
is.
under a 24-hour watch. You can't leave when you want to. Like you're
eating
always
trash food every day.
Exactly. You're getting served
right.
Like
you're on a clock schedule, so like there's something you're gonna be doing every hour. You get your playtime hour, you get your time to wrap it up, go to sleep, lights
everything.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say when I first got in there, I'm not gonna lie, I was in a bad mindset when I first got in there. Coming from my home situation, because my home situation wasn't the best already, even before DHR
Right.
got involved.
Right.
It just took that one thing where it was like, oh, whoa. So,
Right.
but going through, like, starting off, man, like, to be crazy, most people get in there and be like, oh, man, I want to go home. I don't want to. But my situation back home was so, man, listen, excuse my French, was so fucked up, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I was glad to be in there because I was finally away from it. Now, I didn't know, at the time, I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Right.
But I was just glad to be out of that environment. And
Right.
you know how long I was in there. You feel what I'm saying? From
just to give them context though, how long were you in there?
So I got in the group home at the age of 14, and I stayed until I aged out to 21. So right there, that's what, 7 years?
Man, that's something
So
else.
7 years straight, like all high school, first half of college, like
Man.
I'm in there. And what's crazy, a lot of people didn't even know. Like,
Right. We
it was
talked
like a
about that.
code switch going to school. Like, all right, they don't even know what's going on back home.
Okay,
but
let's talk about that a little bit. So you feel like what was basically we talked about off camera, we talked about how back in those days he kept his appearances up, he kept his swag up, so to speak, and just his presence up. And a lot of people thought, he even was rich or bougie or something like that.
Spoiled child.
But like my question is this: what was the logic behind that? Like, what was the energy behind that?
Well, my mindset was, one, I didn't want everybody in my business.
All right,
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then as kids, you feel me? They'll take something and run with it. They'll walk it through the mud.
right.
So that was
people get
just
to talking about you. And,
exactly.
yeah.
Everybody got their own opinion, everything, the jokes and everything. And I
Right.
just didn't want that because at the time, I wasn't in a good mental space.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I would have popped off.
Well, you're a victim. I mean, I hate to say it, but you were a victim, and you didn't want to be more victimized by going to school. And
Exactly.
it almost would have been better if we had our own school at the group home. So that it wouldn't have been better because we want to be around people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, everybody else, the way they move and the clothes they got and the cars they're pulling up in school with, it would make you feel like you ain't talking about nothing or you're just not worth a damn because you don't have those things. So, I can only imagine, but yeah, go ahead, man.
But yeah, getting to the group home, like, it was trial and tribulation. Like, I was a child. I messed up a lot, you feel me? And it took me a while to understand. And you remember, like we talked about off the camera, hey man, you was like a Malcolm X in there, man. Like, you stood on what you wanted. Like, you.
No, that's kind of crazy. Hold on, because that's kind of crazy because this is the first time me hearing this. Like, I've always felt in my head that I was like a Martin Luther King or Malcolm X character. Because I did stand up for myself and I did make a noise whenever we were being treated unfairly or whatever. Yeah. But just from your perspective, like
It was one of those things, like, in the group home, like, I was really just going through the phases.
Right.
But then you came along where it's like you were active in what you did. Like, whatever you did, like your passion, you were active in it and you wouldn't let nobody take that away.
Wow.
And at the time, like me watching, I'm like I messed with that. I'm like, yeah, like stand on what's about you. Like, don't let these people change who you are.
Right.
Because they will.
They will, dude.
They will.
Well, and let's go a little deep on what you just said. There's a term for that, and it's called it's called not indoctrinating. It's not the word. It's when, you know, like when you go to prison and they institutionalize.
Yeah.
That's what institutionalization means. And what that basically means is that you're put as a human, as an individual, you're a person. So right now we are people, we're persons. If you take us and put us in a prison setting, they're gonna strip you of your individuality. Now you're just gonna be a number. You're number 64105. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like at a young age, that's what we were dealing with. We were dealing with institutionalization, where they're basically taking away your individuality and the things that make you you, and what, you know, whatever that comes with. So for me, I didn't allow them to take that from me. Like, I'm gonna leave this place being who I am.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you're not
a product of what y'all made.
Right. Now what's so crazy about that, since he brought it up, and since this is a conversation that's about our past, our shared past, there was a time there though, and it was that time when I don't want to bring up the name, but there was a certain person who snitched on me about me having a phone. And I'm gonna just say they were African, so I'm gonna just let your mind wander on that one. But okay. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I remember.
And it was crazy. Me and me and a staff member got into it, and you know, and I love that staff member to this day, by the way. But you know, it was a whole thing, and it blew up, and it got crazy, and I almost thought I was gonna get sent off. And I mean, come on, y'all, it was crazy, but it just showed me that. People, when they're in that scenario, they can get so lost in it that they're not a person anymore. You know what I'm saying? And it was a point I was gonna make. I want to say I always tried to stay with my family, with my friends, the people that I loved. I always tried to stay in contact with them. And, you know, that's why, like, when my phone got taken, I tripped out so hard. Yeah. Because it's like, bro, if I didn't...
your only connection to the outside world.
Bro, if I didn't have that phone that I snuck under my bed every day for years at a time, by the way, I just want to let y'all know, Harris Home, I made it years.
We was in there finessing.
I'll let you straight up know. I went years with that phone, and y'all didn't catch me. I'm sorry. But no, man, just going through that, having that phone was my connection to the world. If I didn't have that, bro, I probably would have been institutionalized or whatever. So, I think you got a fly right there, actually. Oh, man, that's crazy.
Because I got that shit on. I got that shit on.
Yeah, exactly. The Fly is a paid actor, y'all.
Exactly.
But now, so yeah, man, it's crazy. But to continue on, tell me when you first left the group home, because I want to know what Ibiso was like when they finally let you off the leash. They finally let you off the leash. You're not controlled anymore. There's no bedtime. There's no social worker checking in with you at this time. Like, what was it like when they finally let you into the world and you were like, whoa, I'm here now? Like, all these years I've been locked up and now I'm just free? Like, what was that?
I feel like it's different levels to that, because technically you had a leash on until you were 21. Right. But you know, at a certain time where it's like I was working the system. You feel me? Like,
but my thing is, I understand that, but my question is, when they completely let you go,
like,
and
cut ties.
I'm talking about, like, you are
on your own.
You're not a ward of the state anymore. You are a man in the world. And no social worker is gonna call you to make sure you did what you were supposed to. Nobody's looking after you no more.
I don't have to look over my back no more.
You're in the world, brother. Tell me
first
about
of
that, Ibiso.
It felt great. It felt great, because what I honestly will say is, toward the end, probably the last 2-3 years in it, like, they really prepared me for the outside world, because I was already I was already paying my own bills. I had a job. I was in school. So it's like, once that leash, quote unquote, came off, nothing really changed because I was already doing what I was supposed to do, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, it was just now it's like I don't have to make that monthly call no more.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, nothing really changed. Like,
sure.
our life just went on. Like, I was
Yeah.
already
So you had
grown doing my own thing.
And to let people know more context, when you're in the system, there are multiple levels. So, like, we were in, me and him were in a group home together, but we actually moved to a thing called TLP, which was where we had like an apartment where we shared kind of in a way. But then even after that.
Best way to describe it is like having a roommate, have multiple roommates in one house.
Like a dorm,
Literally.
a dorm. And then after that, you even go to a thing called ILP where you have your own apartment. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if you know, but I was like one of the youngest cats to have an ILP apartment. Did I tell you about that?
How? Because I think I was right behind you on that.
No, you was always right behind me. You were the youngest person to go to TLP, so I knew you was on that track.
Because I went in there, they gave me my own apartment like as soon as I graduated.
See, I'm sorry, I beat you there, brother. I had an apartment my senior year, brother. I was. Hey, come on, baby. But no, like, let me tell y'all about that too. Like,
how was that having an apartment?
One thing, let me tell you about that because Ibiso just spoke on it. He was saying that, you know what, guys? We're actually gonna take a really quick break, but we will be right back with the Road to Greatness podcast.
Stay tuned.
Yo, guys, we are back with the Road to Greatness podcast, and I'm here with Ibiso, Amaso.
Yo.
Let's do it. All right, so to continue on what I was saying, guys, let me tell y'all what he was just saying. I was a person that always made people be accountable. So I was the type of person, like, I discovered, like, this is some stuff people don't really know about. Because let me tell y'all this too. By the time I met Ibiso in Harris Home, I was already a veteran. That's what we call people who were there for years. So I was there from 2011 all the way to 2016. I mean 2015. So that was my little arc of Harris Home. But I had by the time I met Ibiso, I had already been around the block a couple times.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I had learned early on was that DHR and the state of Alabama has money set aside for each foster kid to get clothes. You know those clothing vouchers we would have? You're supposed to get a clothing voucher every quarter of the year.
Okay.
But a lot of people didn't know that, though. A lot of people, their social worker would just pop up once a year and be like, hey, come, let's go get some clothes or whatever.
Which is crazy. Once a year.
That's crazy, bro. And even then, they'll sometimes they'll forget, and you'll be into the next year and still haven't gotten no new clothes. So once I found out that, like, oh, we got rights, like there's things that we supposed to have, I'm on they butt about it, bro. Like I'm calling, emailing. I'm acting like a lawyer because one thing I learned at an early age is that if you're in the system and you don't speak up for yourself,
they'll forget about you.
They will forget about you, and they'll just make you another number. So you have to speak up. You have to be on their butt. And it got to the point where they hate to see me coming. That's the trend right now. But it was real life. They see me walking through the doors. They know it's gonna be a scene. It's gonna be a scene. So, but that's just I try to make people accountable because, if it's gonna be bad for me, I'm a maximize. I'm a maximizer. That's the type of person I am. And this can transpose into business, by the way, y'all. If you got opportunities, if you have people, if you have resources, maximize your situation. Don't always take what life gives you and just let it be. Sometimes you got to take advantage. You got to make people do what they supposed to do so that you can do what you're supposed to do.
You got to go get it, man.
Like, right.
You can't just wait for it to come. Sometimes you gotta put your foot on their neck.
Right. And so what we're talking about is these apartments, man. I left 18 years old. As soon as I turned 18, I left. I think you were there, and we
got up out of there.
Yeah, like I dapped him up and everything. Like, hey, bro, like it's been good knowing you, whatever, with the whoop. And then I was out of there. I had my brother pick me up, and I stayed with my grandma for a while. And I loved it. It was no issues with it. But after a while, they were like, man, like, I don't know if you know, but they make money for having us in the system.
Yeah.
So I think at some point they were just like, man, like, you could still have you know, we could still have you in the system. You can, you know, get your own apartment, whatever. Because at first they wanted me to go back to Harris home. But I'm 18 and I'm like, I'm not doing that. Even though I'm still in high school, I'm still not doing that. So they decided, they just gave up and they were like, hey, we'll put you in an apartment. And I shook hands with them and said, let's do it. So my whole senior year, I had an apartment. And that was a whole experience. Like, just living on my own, but having to go to school, go to high school still. Yeah, that was crazy.
But I know that felt good coming home. Like, dang, everybody going back to their mama, daddy house, and I got my own.
No, it was beautiful, man. And I was way too grown for what I, you know, like I was grown. I was moving grown, man. But that's I feel like I deserved it because I've been through a lot, and it matured me a lot, and I feel like I could handle it. And I did for the most part. It was some rocky days getting to school and not having transportation, stuff like that. But I made it through, man, and everything ended up working out. So, but yeah, man, that's crazy there.
That's wild. That's wild. Yeah, like I said, they gave me mine like right after. Like I graduated in May, August, freshman year of college. I'm in the crib.
So okay, so cool. So let's dive into your life a little bit more, man.
Okay.
So you're now out of the system. You're you know, to continue on. You're now out of the system, fresh out. You said you were already independent before this happening, so it wasn't like a big transition or anything like that. My question for you is this: are you? Did it get bad before it got good? Because right now I'm looking at you. You're good. It's good.
It's great.
I can tell. I can tell, brother.
Great.
I can tell that you're in an elevated state, and more importantly, I can just tell that you're at peace. Like that's what I look when I look at people. I try to see if they're still at war with themselves, or if they're still at war with the life, their past, and their traumas, and their. But when I look at you, brother, I see healing. I see a healed individual, especially because I knew how you were when you were younger and you weren't healed. You know what I'm saying? So my question is this: what? Tell me about some of the challenges that you went through after you were freed and you're now, you know, in the world as a man. Because like you said, you know, you were still independent, but what were some of the nuanced things like your mental health and your mindset and maybe even your approach to life? Like, yeah, tell me about that.
It's funny that you say that. It's things I still do that I'll be like, oh man, I still got that. Like you said, institutionalized in me. Like I have a set schedule. Like my day is clocked. Like,
but that's not a bad thing to have.
Not.
Though. Yeah.
It's not. But it's like I know where that come from. So like. My bad, I'm getting off topic. You asked what some struggles I went through.
But you just dropped the gem though. Like you almost, if I can speak on it, you just said that you created a habit that was created, you know,
for me.
You were in a bad situation when this habit was introduced to you. But as an adult, it's what allows you to execute and to get things done and to grow as a person. You know, without organization, you ain't gonna get nowhere.
I hate chaos. Like I need it's a pro and a con. Like even now I'm still working on it. Like I need things to go as I want them scheduled, but I understand life is life.
Right.
But yeah, being in the group home is what made me so organized. Like I know everything that's going on. I do this at this time. I do this at that time. Like I have a plan for my day. Wow. Because I just don't get up and be like, let's figure it out.
Right.
Like, nah, exactly. Like come on now. Like I'm thinking about what I'm doing tomorrow right now.
Exactly.
So but a few challenges, man, it was figuring everything out. Like, it was no one there to teach me about taxes. It was no one to teach me, like, anything, like the small things, getting insurance, getting health insurance. Like, it was so many things situations adulting that just came across that I like, oh, wow. Like, I've been doing taxes on my own since I was like 18.
Right.
You know, I've been working since I was 16.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Just paying bills, like
organizing.
Because you got to know they pay for everything. That's another thing. Hey, in the system, y'all, they pay for everything. They have that money. They will pay for everything. So it's just transitioning out of it. It's like, all right, now even a small thing like paying rent.
Right.
Oh, where do I go? Is it a portal? Do I drop the check off?
Exactly.
it may seem so small to somebody watching, but at the time, nobody taught me that. Like nobody taught me
I think
how to
everybody
do that.
and I think a lot of young people are like that. Like I think that's actually the most regular problem you've described today because a lot of us of our age is dealing with adulting issues and not knowing what to do and how to do it in the best way possible.
Exactly. And I know we're all figuring out, but in my situation, it's like, I didn't even have a parent there to even have any type of shed any type of light on life. So it was just like that transition out from the age of like 21 to 22, man, I was just going with the phases, man.
Yeah,
like,
my recent adulting problem or my recent like challenge, not even challenge, but it was just like, oh, okay, we're doing this now, all right, was life insurance.
Insurance?
Well, insurance in general, like just the whole insurance, like
Okay.
health insurance, life insurance, dental insurance.
And that's an important thing, just for all viewers, like make sure y'all get y'all insurances, man. Life insurance, health, like all of it.
I'm telling you, man, because
you need it.
Yeah, you need that stuff. And we grew up like he just said, we grew up where they pay for everything. We have a Medicaid card. We swipe that joker, and we getting anything you need.
The best of the best.
But it's like now, you know, as an adult in the world, you know, we have
see
to
how much that costs.
right.
Too.
We have to actually be aware, and we also have to do our best to get a good job and and things like that so that it can supply benefits. And I'm now looking at jobs and I'm like, okay, what's the benefits? You know what I'm saying?
Like it's not all about that dollar sign.
Right, exactly. So so that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But I'm just trying to remember, I don't know, even like my most recent adulting scare, like I had to renew my home insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like a little kid on the phone.
Like
I'm a grown man, but I'm just like, I'm so new to this. Like,
right.
All right, like, I don't know, man. It was
man. But that's good though. That's good, man. That's growing pains, if anything, and that's the right type of growing pains. You only have to go through that one good time for you to your next house. You know what's going on. You know how to do it. So, but nah, bro, that's real dope. So now you went through some challenges. You went through some just adjusting to independent living. That's really what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
But Biso, I if you don't mind, I'd like to just go a little bit deeper, and I want to ask, throughout your journey of being a foster kid and an ex-foster kid, I want to talk about more of on the emotion side and of the self-worth side, like. Have you ever dealt with any mental health as far as like depression or any type of like, feeling like, damn, like why did I have to have this type of life, or, why I don't have support, why I don't have people in my life? What was some of those challenges that you had mentally?
Man, it's been a lot of nights just laying in the bed, just thinking about like, why me?
Yeah.
Like, what did I do to deserve the life that at the time I thought was the worst? Like I said, just not trying to turn this to a therapy session, but like my father telling me he don't want me. Like some people might not know who their father is, but when your actual father saying like, you're not my child, I don't want you, that was just one of them things where I ain't gonna lie, that took my self-esteem away. Like if my own father don't want me, like what am I to you feel me? Like what am I to the world?
And I went through a similar thing. It wasn't my father, but it was a person who I thought was my father. And I will say this, man, it's one thing to never know somebody, never know your father. Mm-hmm. But when someone has taken care of you or like been in your life, and then they choose to exit, and you're a kid, like you ain't, you know what I'm saying? It's okay if you're an adult and you acting like a piece of crap out here, or just being an asshole. Of course, somebody's gonna leave your life, but we're talking about people who haven't even developed into who they gonna become. I'm sure your father didn't even know you were gonna become this man to this day and have the character you have and have the success that you're having and will future have. But it's like to know that people are, they can't take accountability. I'm all about accountability.
Definitely.
Can't take accountability enough to even take care of their own or whatever like that. That's a different type of hurt, bro. So I can only imagine that it would have you staring up at your ceiling, and looking at the moon, thinking like, man, like damn, this is life. Like,
Exactly. And then even with that, like I didn't really have like like I said, I'm Nigerian. Majority of my family is in Nigeria at the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I only had my siblings over here, and I wasn't in contact with them like heavy like that at the time.
Right.
So it was just like I was alone.
Right.
Just being honest. Like I was alone. I didn't have anybody.
Right.
So it was times where, yeah, I don't want to call it depression, but I guess it was depression where I was just like literally going through the motions like a zombie. Like get up. Like I said, everything was planned for. Everything was planned for us. So it's just like I'm like this empty shell just going through the.
Whoa, he going deep with it, y'all.
So
y'all ain't hearing him,
man. Y'all don't understand, like.
But it's people that's going through that
right now.
It's not in the same way, but there are people who are going through a similar empty shell feeling, and that's why I brought it up, because I wanna know, like, when I look at you now, bro, I don't see that empty shell. I mean, I could be wrong. Am I tripping or something? Like,
no, you're not tripping, bro. Like, this is years of work, bro. This is
healing.
Years and healing, man.
But it's like, I guess I want to know, Ibiso, like, okay, what got you to the point where you moved past that, bro? Like, that was an anchor in your life. That was a chip. You know, my favorite song by Rod Wave is Chip on My Shoulder. You know what I'm saying? You know about that?
Hey, man.
So it's like, you know, he said, you know what I'm saying, he got a chip on his shoulder, and it ain't going nowhere for real.
Yeah.
But my question is, what led you to getting your chip off your shoulder?
Man, I realized as I got older and I reconnected with my family, I realized that I actually had a support system. So man, shout out to my sister. I know she gonna see this, man. My sister really got me through a lot, man. Like, she's big on, like, you the shit. Like, she's big on that. Like, you are the best of the best. Like, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Like, you're a king. Like, she drills that into me. Like, wow. So that really got me thinking,
so
like,
God is so good. I'm sorry. Shout out to Ibiso's sister. I don't know who you are.
Shout out to EBA, man.
Yeah. Hopefully I can meet you one day. But I will say this. Thank God that you entered his life during that season to show him that, because, man, when I see him, that's what I think of. I think of a king, and that's as a black man, I don't care what your past and history is like, we're all kings, and as a black woman, we're all queens. So I mean, y'all are all queens. So I'm just so glad you had somebody in your corner that was speaking that into you, bro.
And then I also had a mentor too. Like, I gotta put my mentor out there, like, because he was there from the beginning while I was going through that.
Right. And who was that?
Jarius. So shout out to Jarius Palmer. You know, I know he gonna see this too. You know who Jarius is. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, big shout out to Jarius Palmer, because he was both of our mentors. He actually was my mentor first, because I was at the Harris home, years before Ibiso. But as time gone by, you know, people go their own ways and journeys in life.
Exactly.
But I'm just so proud and glad to hear that he was still, you know, in your life, and you're in his life. You know, apparently y'all both, you know, keep in contact, and you know, he's like a real brother for you, you know, or however you like to see it. But yeah, that's hey, I'm gonna tell you something. Actually, Mr. Jarius, shout out to him for real, because
he changed my life, bro.
He's changed multiple young men's life. He was the guy that had no job at the Harris home. He had no reason to be there. They weren't giving him money to come up there.
He was going up there for free.
And he would come and take you out to eat. He'll come and give you an experience. You know, he was the type of guy who would sit down with you and say, "Hey, man, you need to get your head out of your ass and do right and do better." And he held you accountable. I'm big on that. Accountability is a big word for me, but he would hold us accountable, and so I'm very thankful. All right, guys, we're back with the Road to Greatness podcast. And, man, we're talking about some crazy things right now, man. Okay, cool. So we're continuing on the story of Ibiso, man. And we're at the part where, you know, you basically told us what got you through or got you out of these headspaces. You were telling me about your sister and your mentor, Mr. Palmer, Jarius Palmer. My question is this. Okay. So you told me, like, yeah, you had these feelings of maybe sadness or depression or whatever we want to call it. It doesn't matter, because we all know what that feeling is, you know. But my question is this. Were there any bad habits or things that carried into your adulthood that you might have? Because one of the things we do with Road to Greatness is we reflect. So it ain't always the good things. We sometimes talk about the stuff we did wrong, but we fixed or got, or created better habits out of. So, were there any things that were like challenges for you, things that you had to kind of like, like, man, I gotta let this go. I gotta let this mindset go. I gotta let this bad habit go. I gotta let these people go. Whatever. Like,
Oh, definitely. One big one would say procrastination. Like, I had a bad habit of starting something and never finishing it. Like, I'll pick something up and never finish it. And I did that with a lot of things. So as time went on, I'm like, why do I feel like I'm not where I want to be at the time? And I had to self-reflect, and I'm like, I said I want to do this. I said I want to do this. And I never finished it. I started and just lost interest in it. Or just, it hit a hard part, and I'm like, I don't want to do that no more.
wow.
Like, so it took time where I'm like, I'm never going to get nowhere if I don't finish what I start. And that's, I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I'm still working on it.
Oh no,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
You're on the road to greatness. So
Exactly.
it's still a journey.
But as I've identified the problem, now it's time to fix it. So every day I try to be like, all right, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it to the very end. And
Seeing it through, finishing.
Exactly. And another thing that was a problem to that was I would want to do so many things at the same time. And that was a problem. Like, that's why I was like, all right, let me do this, finish it, then go to the next thing.
All right, slow down now. Listen, he just dropped the gym. We love our gyms on this show. He said he had too many, what do they call it? They have too many hands in the stove. It's another word they say, but long story short, he's saying that if you're procrastinating or not finishing the projects you're working on because you have too many of them, you might need to slow it down and just do one at a time. There's nothing wrong with doing one at a time.
Exactly.
Because in my eyes, if you did it one at a time and got 3 out of the 7 projects you were trying to do done, that's still better than you only having half-finished projects, 7 half-finished projects. You know what I'm saying?
And something that helped me with that, and something that I've learned, I set monthly goals. So like I have my calendar. Like I said, I'm a very organized person. So I have my calendar and everything, and I will literally jot down like 10 to 15 goals. I got this, I forgot where I got this from. It was on the internet. But I'll jot down like major goals I want to hit in 30, 31 days, whatever the month may be. And then as I do them, I'll check them off. Now, if I set 10 goals for the month, but I only do 7 of them, that's still 7 out of 10 that I did. And them other 3 roll over to the next month.
Right.
So and that's also can help you like navigate and organize yourself. That's where you can get out of procrastination is you organize it. So
and I like that, man. That's a real gem right there, especially for people who just feel like they're like all ideas but no execution. I think that's a good thing. I even have a calendar myself, and if it's not on the calendar, then it don't get done. And I live and die by my calendar, and I think a lot of people should operate like that because it leads you to be more organized.
Definitely.
Yeah, man, that's dope, bro. Okay. Well, all right, Ibiso. So tell me about your life now, man. We're fast forwarding a little bit. You first off, tell the world, where you live and how long you've lived there and what you're doing out there.
Okay, I'm gonna do a little run back for those who don't know. Born and raised Huntsville, Alabama, 256. So I was in Huntsville for 22 years. Right. I gave 22 years to Huntsville, and I'll say my last 2 years between COVID to 2021, where it was a transition where I felt like I was stuck, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like during COVID, I got into the content creation, things like that. And I just felt like I wasn't getting the support I needed. And also I knew it was a bigger world out there. Like I didn't want to be one of them people, and there's nothing wrong with staying where you grew up at. But I will tell y'all something. Moving out of my hometown was one of the best things I could have done. Like it exposed me, like I said, that it's a bigger world out there. Like some things that, like the mindset, how people are thinking is totally different. So I moved, I've been gone 3 years, 2021, I moved out of Huntsville 2021, and I moved to Houston, Texas.
Right.
And that's just another, like, roller coaster, man. Like, I got a crib out there, and the crib had got damaged. If anybody knows, it was a winter storm in February of 2021 in Texas. Like, that was all over the world. And the house I got destroyed, got flooded, actually.
Oh,
so I got a mean deal on it. But the thing about it was, now I got to renovate a house, and I've never renovated a house.
Wow.
So literally, that was a whole learning process of now I got to get contractors. Now, you know, I don't know nothing about a house.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
It's a big leap from having an apartment
saying?
and like everything's handled to like you're building a house, or not building, but like recovering a house, basically.
Exactly. Now I've got to make big decisions. What flooring do you want it? What color? What are the dimensions?
Right.
How do you want? So now it's like my first year I moved to Houston in April 2021. April to January literally was a time of, like, that was my life. Like, everything was, my life revolved around that home because it was, man, like, it's just little stuff I can just pluck out.
Right.
That of something, because something was always wrong with the house. Something always went wrong. Either a contractor ain't show up, a contractor didn't finish, some don't fit, some cost too much. We need this now. Like, I literally
ran out, whatever.
Like, it was a constant learning, and at the time it was a headache, but I'm glad I went through it.
Right.
So after that, man, I ain't gonna lie, life kind of got great after that. Like, the content started going up, the ideas came in, the brand deals started dropping.
Yeah, talk to them. Tell them what you do. You know, what do you...
So, I like to say I'm a creator, content creator. So, I kind of do
full-time content creator, by the way.
Full-time content creator. So, I kind of do what I want. Like, people ask me what I do. When it comes to content creation, like, it started off with me just doing what I want. Like, if it's a funny video, if it's something a skit that I come up with, something relatable, like, that's what got me into content creation. Just like, you know, during COVID, we just all sat in the house. We all sit in the house on TikTok, on social media. So I'm seeing all these people, like, going viral, putting up numbers, and I'm like, I can do that. Like, why not? Why not give it a try? So once I dropped that first video and it did a few numbers, I'm like, let's keep it going. So, but now I'm transitioning. I'll say I've been heavy on content since 2020. I think I dropped my first video July 2020. And so I got like a little rough 4 years in the game. So now I'm transitioning into actually doing marketing, social media marketing, where I'm not trying to say I'm a guru because I don't know everything, but using what I've learned to help your content grow and reach your target audience. So I do consultations to help people grow.
Wow.
So,
okay, that's dope, man. That's dope. And that's a big 180 from just being a guy from Huntsville, Alabama who, you know, working at Walmart and, you know, trying to make some money.
Like, y'all, I didn't have every job in the book. Like, you name it, I didn't have it.
Like, same, man. By the way, I just want y'all to know, like, I've worked McDonald's grill. I've worked, you know, Domino's. Man, I worked for a whole year at Domino's and stayed down for $7.25 an hour, bro. Making pizzas every day. And I was their best opener.
Bro, I worked at Sonic for 3 years making $8.40 an hour.
Right.
Like,
yeah, but bro, I ain't even gonna lie, bro. I don't want to hear you, bro, because you was making tips out the wazoo, bro. I remember when you was at Sonic, and bro, when I tell you, my man used to come home with some rack age, bro. Cause it's like you knew how to work them tips, bro. So
man,
I don't want to hear that from you, bro. But
it's all about conversation and chemistry, man. You give somebody a good conversation, make them feel a little better, man. Right. That's how you got that money up out of them.
Right. So, but nah, that's dope, man. You know, I think it's real good that you're doing good and that you're doing something that is originating from you. On this podcast, I'm very big on helping people create their own wealth for themselves. Like, you can't always let these corporations and these jobs, you can't lean on them that much. Now, in your business, you're still leaning on corporations and businesses, but
definitely, they run the world.
But not in a way where if they want to drop you, that's just it, and like you're done for it, and there's no money coming in. You know, you still have your other incomes and businesses, and that's another thing too. You haven't spoke on it, but you also have other businesses as well and other hustles as well.
Definitely. I always try to get multiple streams of income. So I never depend on one income because I'm like, tomorrow it can be all over with.
Right, exactly.
So I always try to keep some type of hustle going on because, hey, I'm a hustler. Like, I need to get to the money. Money runs the world.
Right.
So I always trying to, like, I'm a sponge. Like, I'm always trying to learn something new because knowledge can take you a very long way.
Yep.
So anything that I'd be like, oh, I can do that. Like I've learned how to read charts to do day trading. You feel me? Like once you learn that, like it's not going nowhere. You feel me? The mind's a powerful thing. Anything I learn, like it's like in my pocket. Like, okay, you know, I ever fall on my ass, hey, give me $100, I can flip it.
Exactly, and that's the reason why I became a photographer. You know, it started off, because you know when you knew me, I'd never had a camera. I wasn't a camera guy. Or into this type of world. When we first, anyways, when I was younger, a friend's sister gave me a graphic design job. They were like, man, I just need a logo. It's like for like a hair salon. I just need a quick little logo. And, you know, I got on my computer. At the time, I had like a little iPad / computer thing. And I made a really bad logo. But I got paid $60 for it.
So she got $60 worth of logo then.
Nah, she got gypped. But the point of the story is I made $60 off of my own two hands. Yeah. And once I felt that, bro, you know, I was working jobs and stuff, but once I felt that money of like, man, I just did something and got $60. Like that was
you didn't have to clock in or nothing.
$60 was normally would be 6 hours of working at Domino's or like, you know, whatever, like, but no, I just made that in, you know, however long it took me to make that logo. So once that activated in me, bro, it's been up ever since, man. I decided that I'm going to be a creator as well. And I'm going to be a person who will get paid for the things that I create. And so it's been a journey, man. I started with YouTube, on YouTube University, just doing a bunch of tutorials on how to use a camera, how to you know, do graphic design in this way, how to use Photoshop, you know, this, that, and the third. And like you just said, once you learn a skill, it goes in your pocket. Man, at this point, I've learned over maybe 20 various skills that are all people's careers. Like, you know, I always tell people I'm good. Like, if I stopped being a photographer tomorrow, I would pick up videography. If I stopped doing videography, I would do
like you got other avenues you can go to. Like.
Yeah, I would do graphic design. If I ain't doing graphic design, I would be clothing label. If I ain't clothing label, I'd be doing day trading, stuff like that. Like it's always, for me, it's good to have a set of skills. Watch, this is a crazy phrase. A set of skill sets. Because when you have a set of skill sets, you always have a way to make money. And another thing too, you spoke about earlier, you said moving out of your hometown was one of the best things you could ever do. I also had a journey with that. I ended up moving to Birmingham, and ever since I moved to Birmingham, I've lived in various places like Nashville, Tennessee, Mississippi, Oxford, Mississippi. But anyways, me moving from Birmingham, it exposed me to so many things. So many ways to do business.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, dude, and that move, it gave me the right mindset. And so when I came back to Huntsville, I came purposefully because I now knew what I needed to do when I got out here.
Exactly. It's been times where like I'll learn something new. Like, man, if I knew this back at home, I would have went crazy. Like that's what kind of led me to coming back. Like this is my first time back in Huntsville in 3 years.
Right.
But I came back with a mindset like, all right, bring it back home. Like everything I've learned, everything I'm continuing to learn now. Yeah. Like I'm like, okay, now I can bring it back to the city where it all started.
Right.
So that's some things I got en route right now. Just, I got to start at home, man. But then got to leave, man. Got to leave. I can't stay too long.
Right. All right, guys. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with the Road to Greatness podcast. All right, guys. We are back with the Road to Greatness podcast, and we are with Ibiso Amaso. All right. So man, dude, first off, man, I just gotta stress this, guys. This is one of the most special guests I've had on the podcast. Keep in mind, everybody else we've had is dope and doing some great things, but this one is really a heart to heart because, like I said, I basically grew up with this brother right here. And when I did know him, he was in a totally different headspace, a totally different energy, and not necessarily bad, just a young man in the world, man, trying to do his
figure it
best,
out, man.
trying to do his best. So, but I do want to I just want to stress that you have done so much to change your circumstances and change your life. And I want them to know how special it is that you have done that. There are a lot of people from the same group home, from the same time we were there, who are dead, in jail, on drugs, selling their body, and God, God knows what else or whatever. So to see that you found a way to elevate and find a way to break through and become something, man. And that's the thing. You're not there. You're not like perfect yet. You're not like just at the finish line yet. Mm-hmm. But for you to be so far along to the point where it's undeniable that you are on that path to greatness. You're on that road to greatness. Dude, it's a good thing to see, man. A very good thing to see.
Thank you.
Yep. And I'm glad that, like I said, we haven't talked in years, but when we did reconnect, I'm glad that I also was able to get out of my bad spot because I wouldn't want you to meet me in an era when I wasn't, doing better and doing good. I'm glad that we met at the top and not at the bottom is what I'm trying to say.
But we did meet at the bottom, though.
Well, we definitely met at the bottom, but we met below the earth.
Man.
We were under the ground when we met, but we grew into something very, very beautiful, very successful. So, and this is just the beginning. Like I said, man, I can only see growth. You know what I'm saying? I look at everybody. I'm a person who has a very sharp eye on people and their trajectory in life. Mm-hmm. And man, all I can see is us going up. So
definitely,
especially now that we're connected, man, I'm not gonna let you fail. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Same to you, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. All people who get on this podcast, there's a relationship I will build with them, and make sure that they have accountability from me, and hopefully vice versa. So, because if you're on here, man, it means we're expecting things from you. So, I'm always gonna be in your corner. I'm gonna be watching your journey and supporting you in any way that I can. But yeah, man, I guess I just wanted to take a few minutes for you to first tell the audience anything that they may need to know as far as lessons or advice or just give them just tell them something that they need to hear.
Man, I'm gonna keep it short. I don't like to talk too much, but I'm gonna be like, keep going, man. Don't ever let a hard time humble you. Like, keep going. Like, don't let anybody stop you. If you got a vision, if you got a goal, chase after it, man. Like, we're all on here on calculated time or whatever, however they say it.
Right.
So whatever your passion is, man, go after it, man. And when I say go after it, like, don't stop until the wheels fall off.
Wow. Be relentless about it.
Definitely.
I always tell, there's a running joke on this podcast, me and my co-host, I always tell them, I say, you don't have enough time. Like, you got to get to it, and you got to get to it now. Life is not one of those things where you can wait 10 years and then you try to get things together. There's a saying that Eric Thomas, one of my favorite motivational speakers, people know that this podcast was inspired by their podcast, Secrets to Success podcast. I want y'all to check that out, Secrets to Success podcast. Long story short, he said something. He said, you must take advantage of the opportunity of a lifetime. Watch this, though. During the lifetime of the opportunity.
That's deep.
Y'all ain't hear what I said. You must take advantage of the opportunity of a lifetime during the lifetime of the opportunity. And what that means is that you must take advantage of the opportunities you have in your life, but also you can't sit on them. You can't sit on them, man. If you're hot and popping right now, do something with it. Don't let yourself move. Don't outposition yourself. I'm big on that too. Don't ever outposition yourself. Mm-hmm. So don't ever think that you just got all the time in the world to blow up, and the resources that are available to you now are going to be here 10 years. You never know how the world will change and how your life will change. So take advantage, get to it, chase your goals, go crazy.
Okay, that's some real one. That's some real shit.
But all right, guys, I want to give Ibiso a chance to shout out, his stuff and his social media and all that, and then we're gonna go ahead and close with the podcast.
Make sure y'all follow me on IG at Good Fortune. That's good spelled GOODE. From there, you can find the connects to all the rest of my socials and my content. Right now, I'm on the road to 100K. We at 84 last time I checked. So y'all make sure y'all lock in and let's run it up.
That's lit. That's dope. That's dope. Man, first off, bro, a pleasure, bro. Very, very much.
Definitely, man. It was a pleasure being here, man.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And hopefully it won't be your last, man. I would like to have you back on after some time has gone by to see what you're up to. We're hoping to hear some, even better things and even more elevation. So
Definitely.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope. Well, all right, guys, listen. This was the Road to Greatness podcast. Today it was just me, Jamar Carter. But we also had Ibiso, Amaso here. And, we'll see you next week.
And we out.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. God bless us.
That wasn't too bad.
God help us. God bless us. God bless us. God help us. God bless us. I know I'm blessed, no woes, no stress. I learned them hoes, lead to no rest. This world is great, just have to pray. Don't need the drug.